Great. So I know some people are going to come in and out throughout the meeting, which is great. First and foremost, this is certainly a presentation, but most importantly, it's a dialogue and a discussion. So at any point, please come off mute, raise your hand, interrupt me. I'm going to also ask for your thoughts as well. So I'm excited that you have all decided to spend this hour with me or whatever amount of time you can. And for that, I am forever grateful as well. A lot of you are in real estate. Some of you may not be. This hour is all about video, particularly creating video for social media. There will be parts about it that are real estate because that's an area I know a little bit about. But for a lot of it, it's really about just bringing you, your wonderful being, onto camera and engaging with strangers and clients and family and others throughout your sphere. And a little backstory on this. So I work for an agency called Real Academy, and I run a team called Places in Maine. And part of Real Academy is, depending on kind of what level of production you're at, you have the opportunity to share something you're passionate about. So for the last 11 months, this is my 12th month, I have been producing this series called Couch to Content. I am a runner, so there's always that couch to 5K, couch to 10K, and I wanted people to have the opportunity who either not familiar with video, not comfortable with video, maybe they want to do more video, or they're just looking for new ideas to bring to video. This class was for everyone. After this week, I will have all 12 of these classes up on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch. I will be mentioning some of those throughout as well. So in fashion of wrapping up my 12 months, I wanted to kind of go over 1 year of growth. And so on this title screen, you'll see these three handsome gentlemen with me. So over the last year, my team has grown. My dad is on the right, Kirk, and then Alex. We are Places in Maine. So I always like to say you just never know where a passionate experience or project can lead. And for me, starting way back, acting has led to one thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, to sales, to marketing, to real estate, and then combining a passion of acting, video, entertainment, being authentic with real estate has really been wonderful. It's led to some TV work. It's led to a lot of YouTube videos. So for those of you just starting out, it's amazing. You just don't know where it can go. For folks like Nick here from Waterville, who do an incredible job on video, I'm excited to continue to see where you guys are going to go. Okay, so just a little bit about me. If you don't know, that's me and my wife. We love to work out together. It's been something we're trying to implement as our lives get busy. We're parents of two amazing girls. Finding that time just to connect, no matter how short, is super important to us. I live and work in Falmouth, Maine. I am a union actor, and I don't say that to kind of put anyone like, oh, he does video, he's an actor. I put that up there because it's something I'm excited about. And at some point in life, I might go back to that stage. I just don't know. Proud girl dad. I love to run, swim, and play tennis. I'm currently hosting on American Dream TV with 6 others in the Maine market, which I'm really excited about. I run placesinmaine.com. I am an elite agent at Real Broker, and I'm currently obsessed with finding happiness through healthy eating, hydrating, and exercising. And actually, my next 12 months of Couch to Content, or of Real Academy, I'm going to be focusing solely on those 3 things. So I'm moving away from social media, and I'm just going to be talking about happiness because to me, that's a wonderful thing to focus on. All right. So one thing I love to do, I don't know where people are joining our brokerages all throughout North America, and then other people who know this from Facebook and social media. I always think it's fun if anyone wants to chime in on like a market update. So I put Northeast, Southwest, Central, and Northwest. That could mean part of the state, part of the country, part of North America. I had to throw this up because I'm so pro Maine. We are one of the best states to move to for all the reasons who live here we know. But just curious, anyone out there want to throw in a quick tidbit about something they're experiencing in their local market? All right, great. I see most of you are in Maine, so you all live in the right place. Awesome. I think as my shirt indicates, we're starting to feel a lot of the spring market, certainly in the greater Portland area. A lot of people getting excited for the summer, starting to book out their vacations in Maine. And once they do that, they see how expensive that could be. And they think, oh, why does everyone want to live there? Maybe we should look into it. But it is March, and we are so excited to see where it's going to go. So here's what I did. I looked back on all my 11 presentations, and I thought I would just cull as many lessons from that as possible. So to give, again, some context here, I post primarily video content on Instagram. I then use that same content and I put it out on Facebook, I put it out on TikTok, and I put it out on YouTube Shorts. Those of you just getting into it, I think we often look to the metrics that are most obvious. How many likes did we get? How many comments did we get? How many followers do we have? And so I think probably my biggest lesson over the last year, as I've watched other coaches and I watch a lot of talented people on social media to learn from them, chasing followers is a waste of time. Authenticity always wins. In the first half of the year, a lot of the discussions we were having throughout this program was just how do we bring our authentic self to our media, to our clients, and to our sphere. So the first class I taught back in April of 2023, I was looking at the techniques I was taught in acting school about how to be true to yourself and be authentic in that character, using the lines of a playwright to appear truthful on stage. So you'll be able to look back on that one, but I just really want to hammer this one home. We're not ever trying to be someone else on social media. We're just us. We show up that day however we are, not because we feel we need to hammer a message down anyone's throat, but we have something to share and we want to share it as ourselves. I put up my stats from April 2023 because each month I would put that into my presentation, and I'll show today's as we get towards the end. But I'd say a big part of me a year ago was really focused on like, how do we get more followers? We all think that's going to unlock some magic sauce, when in fact it's really the authenticity that's going to capture one or two folks through our channel. And those people are going to be the ones who are going to reach out. Anyone have any thoughts or reflections on the idea of followers and the importance of or not?
Actually, yeah. Like if you look at a lot of our followers tend to be either bots or people who have nothing to do with the audience we're trying to reach. And I've recently learned that we should periodically go through and delete some of those people so the algorithm places us in front of the people we're actually trying to reach. So it's kind of like the opposite of trying to chase those followers, which is what I've always tried to do as well. And learning now that maybe a smaller audience would actually be more beneficial to me.
That's great. I guess I have never thought of going back in and deleting. I always think it's funny. It's like I'm always trying to spend more concentrated time on social media and effective time and not like doom scrolling time, right? So the idea of like, okay, if I'm going to unfollow people, that's actually like a positive thing I can do to help focus and drive attention. But yeah, there will be days where I get a bunch of follow requests and I can tell they're fake. I can tell they're not real. They immediately hit me with a DM, which I know is some other bot, right? So Nick, thank you so much. That's a great tip.
I was just going to say that reminded me just in life in general, I feel like quality over quantity every time.
Yeah.
And that's like in my business and life, because I think, as type A, ambitious kind of, you have this drive, you want more, 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 but at the same time, it's really like in life in general, just over my decades, I've just constantly come back to that quality over quantity.
Yeah.
The same with social media.
Yeah. Yeah, Jen, it's such a great point. I think it's, I sometimes get wrapped up in either like how many people in the pipeline or how many times have I gone out, how many deals, right? And then it's like, oh, well, like I often say, like, what if I just focus on the 14 houses in my neighborhood I drive by every day, and what does it look like to go really deep in that situation and really provide the quality? So yeah, that's a really great point, Jen. Lesson number 2 of what I've learned, and this one comes a lot out of, have a lot of conversations with people, a lot of coffees. And I guess I really want to be aware that I understand there's a huge fear around this for some people. And I love to not break that down, but just talk through it. And I think for me, there was a crucial moment in my like actor's journey when I left New York City, moved back to Maine with my fiance, now wife, and I started acting in Maine on stage, almost like with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, like, yeah, I'll go audition, like I'll do my thing. And what I learned in doing that was like, I was starting to be more comfortable with who I am and not worrying about who I thought they might want me to be. Right. And the idea is like, if I'm going to get cast as Tiny Tim, it's because the director wants the Chris Davis version of Tiny Tim. It's not because like I have to be some tiny person on stage or whatever it might be, right? Silly example. But the idea being when it's your time and you're the right role, you're going to get cast. And I think a lot of what we do in social media and with video, we have to approach it in that same thing. So we are the value, and you must be comfortable sharing your story. There's so much story within all of us and life experience that it doesn't always have to be about the product or service you're selling or offering. Oftentimes, there's something going on in our life that 9 times out of 10, someone else is dealing with. So I went back through a bunch of photos and realized I have so many photos of me doing real estate with a mask on, and understanding this is a concentrated moment in time where some of us had to do that. But the simple idea of like, as much as we can pull that mask away and really show who we are, to Nick's point earlier, we're going to attract those people who should be watching our stuff, and then we should be watching their stuff. And there is a shared community there of like-minded people that ultimately is going to help us all grow in the community that we want and that we create in this world. On one of my pinned videos on Instagram is about just my story with sobriety, and never knowing like if that would be an okay thing to post. What then showed me it was okay was when people DM'd me like, hey, that's really cool, I'm going to try that. Or, hey, I've tried that, I need help with that, can we talk about that? Right. Any type of situation like that, not about real estate at all, certainly about life. My life is my brand, is a great way just to show people that there's more to you, and a reminder that no matter what we're going through, chances are someone else might want to hear about it or might want to engage about it. It's great that we don't have to wear the masks, right?
Hey, Chris.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sorry to jump in here, but with regards to that, do you find that those moments that you're sharing that may internally be a little more difficult to share often get the most response or the most, valuable response?
Yeah, I do. And I think and like, I'll use that phrase, and that's like, be careful what we think about the most response, right? Are we after the most response? And I totally know what you mean, Alex. It's more of like that level of engagement, right? And so I think in the
I would
case
say
of
like a deeper response.
yeah, awesome, right? Like actually connecting with people more than just the superficial. Absolutely. I think we all recognize moments when, here's a good example. Some of us attended an event 2 weeks ago where 16 lenders got up on stage and talked about their value for 2 minutes. And it was very apparent who was comfortable in that situation and who wasn't. I was way more drawn to the people who were uncomfortable because I could see them struggling and I could see them working through it. And I was championing them. And I'm like sitting there quietly being like, let's go. You got this. I want to support you. And like, that's just a tactic that can work on social media for sure. People inherently want to find the good in social media. So if they can champion you or support you, that's a really good thing. So I'm not saying like every day, come on and like look for, that pity party. But I think if there is something that maybe gives you that moment of pause, like, I'm not sure, but like there's something telling me this could be a really good thing to share, I would definitely encourage you to like just lean in and put it out there. So much of the internet is forever, but if like on Instagram, you could always delete it. If for some reason your mom calls and was like, hey, I don't think that's a really good idea, okay, take it down. But I think for the most part, if it's something that's more personal to you, I think there could be extreme value in connecting with people who didn't know about that or excited to learn more. Great question, Al. Lesson number 3, featuring Alex himself, surfing on a wave in Maine. This is a big one. In my mind, I've been in real estate for 5 years, and I just know the more I post, that's my main marketing, my main advertising source, the more business I do. So I think it's really important for me and anyone else who subscribes to this strategy that you really find the time to do it. So if you use the example of if you're going to advertise in a magazine for that May 1 issue, you're probably going to have to get your content to them by the end of April. So by the time they go to print, end of March. So when they go to print in April, it's all ready, right? And so there's a schedule to producing physical media that has to go to a printer and get delivered. Social media should be that same way. In some cases, the frequency is way more. Often for me, it's daily. So finding that time in our busy lives, that's often unpredictable, to create that content. And I love to do it when I feel the most creative. For me, that's usually in the mornings after I have exercised and once my kids have got on the bus. If I let too many things, too many forces come into my day, it quells my creativity and my urges just a little bit because I start to feel the weight of the job and the weight of the day. So I think once you decide, hey, tomorrow's my day, whatever you need to do, whether it's a mantra, whether it's something physical, or maybe it's having a phone call or a coffee meeting just to get inspiration, set that up. Make a little event out of it, because then your body's just going to be ready, your mind's going to be ready, your heart's going to be open, and then you can just go. Does anyone else have experience with blocking their time, or have a different time of day or something that works for them that they're okay sharing? I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna put Nick on the spot here. Nick, you're super productive, and I love all the content you do. You must have a time or a regimen with regards to this.
Yeah, so usually 2 or 3 times a week, I'll block an hour in the morning because that's when my mind, before I get into even emails, and I'll just bang out the content. But before that, it's usually just during the week. Like someone will ask a question, or I'll hear something in something like this that we're doing right now, or someone, you read something, whatever it is, you'll get those little flashes. But if you wait, it's gone. So I'll just jot a note, like content idea, and I'll just put like a bullet point. But then I'll go back in one of those blocked off times and actually write the content to go with it.
Awesome.
I feel like
2025 or 2026, there's going to be a new word in the Webster's dictionary for that flash. I don't know what it's going to be, but I experience it. And it's it's an aha moment. It's like a burst of energy and creativity, but maybe we could make that word. Should put that out there. Alex, sorry to cut you off.
No, I just feel like, yeah, you that was a great point, Nick. And sorry for putting you on the spot, but I knew you'd have something to share. But also, yeah, it just feels like there's an antenna that I sometimes have up, thinking about that in the background of my mind for those moments to capture, or then to write it down. And then sometimes that antenna is not up, and I've removed myself, I've gone on to the next appointment, and I've actually thought back and said, I should have put on the camera then and there in that location for that reason. So it's a good point. And I think it's something you train. I think it's probably something that, your antenna becomes up more often. But yeah, great point, Nick. Thanks for sharing, by the way.
That's a great point. And for people watching, there are all different stages to content production. You might be at the stage where you're just looking to come up with an idea on a Monday, think about it until Wednesday, and then get together with a friend and film one video a week. And that's amazing. And to Alex's point, the more you train this as a muscle and get out there and get comfortable and get experience. I had a date Friday night with my wife, and we went to the Portland Museum of Art to watch a movie. And for 2 hours, I got to put my antenna down. And like, that was wonderful because I think like some people on this thing, I am constantly thinking, how can I provide value? How can I be out in front of people? How can I be relevant? That can get overwhelming. So certainly finding that time in your week where it's coming and you have it, it can be just wonderful for the mind, and certainly for the family life. So you're not always doing it. The antenna moment. Kirk, thank you so much for just joining. Kamal as well. We are going through lessons that I've learned through presenting and discussing with folks over the last 11 months, talking about video and social media. And I don't have 11 lessons because I combined it some, but I don't know how many we'll have. We'll see. And I'll probably have more by the end of this. So that was lesson number 3. Moving on. Lesson number 4, what I've learned: when in doubt, collaborate. I think this is like the best, one of the best lessons. It's also one of the easiest. Social media has brought us all so much closer, across industries, across states, across countries, across agencies. And just like we love to, I don't know, show up at like I'm just going to say town fair, which is so old timey, and see like 2 musicians like playing together that might not always play together, right? But there's that moment like, oh my gosh, that guy who plays that and that woman who plays that, and then someone else is singing, like, this is so cool. That same like feeling that exists within social media. So I just have a few pictures up here. The guy at the bottom with me in the black shirt, he's an agent out in California. He joined me 4 months ago for Couch to Content. He runs a content company called Content Drip, as well as being an agent. He's actually from Maine. And so I invited him to like share his story about how he got into video long before I did. In the pink picture, Josh and I, he's in Maine, him and I just started last week doing an Instagram live talking about being a girl dad. Why not? It was funny. One of his friends actually watched it a couple days ago and goes, dude, I have 5 girls. I need to be on that. And we're like, yes, you know a thing or two. And then the upper left, I did a listing video with an interior designer on a house that needed everything. And I just thought in my video, I don't know what to show or how to present this. And I thought, oh, let's present the vision, and what better than someone in the industry who does that for a living. It's easier than ever to collaborate. And I think, most people I know who I follow or within my sphere are more than willing to jump into something or even collaborate on ideas or plans or anything that, you might feel stuck or lost on. If I'd say that's probably my go-to. If I'm ever feeling like I don't know what to do, I'm going to ask someone what to do. I'm going to ask someone to join me. I'm going to ask someone to create. And collaboration is just something that is so needed and so welcomed in this world that I think it is never not received wonderfully from the community. So you might be wondering, well, what ways can we collaborate? Instagram Live is one of my favorite. I don't find it always has the best engagement, but it lives on. You put it on your profile. I have a dream of like doing a talk show one day. So like that's the closest I can get to it right now. And people can chime in, people can join, people can get off. You can invite other people. As most of you probably know, if you have banner notifications set up, it usually sends a notification to everyone who follows you that, hey, Chris Sells Maine is going live right now. Listing videos I had mentioned are a great way to collaborate. Community tours, depending on what industry you're in, collaborate with the sandwich shop owner, collaborate with the car dealership, collaborate with the town council person to talk about what's going on. Educational Zooms, just like we're doing right now. All of you have showed up. All of you have willingly decided to collaborate with me today, which again, I'm extremely grateful for. Hosting a giveaway. It's a great agent in Saco right now, Adam Parent, who's hosting one for St. Patty's Day, and he's working with a couple of his agents to promote that. Live streaming an industry event. So I came back from Inman last January, which was a real estate event, and I teamed up with an agent from a different agency to kind of talk about what we learned while we were there. And then we live streamed that event on our phone. It takes no effort. you just hit live, put it on a tripod, you've put yourself on video. That was a huge win for that day. And then any type of event promo. So maybe you want to have some type of an event, a fundraiser, a professional talk, whatever that might be. But any other fun ways folks have collaborated on here or are thinking about collaborating, or maybe you just want some help or guidance on collaborating? Sweet, sweet. Cool, cool. As you think about it, feel free to jump in. I updated the photos on this one. Oh yeah, there's me at a party with Alex and our buddy Randy. That's me collaborating with a horse on a photo. I was showing a property that had a horse, and then just a still from my upcoming episode of American Dream TV, which will come out in the first week of April. TV for me has been a great way to understand collaboration, mainly around supporting and promoting small businesses in Maine. It's been one of the easiest asks, I think, when you reach out to someone and say, hey, I'd love to highlight your business or your service or your offering on video. Would you allow myself and a videographer or myself and my iPhone to come in and ask you a few questions? 9 times out of 10, they're like, absolutely, I'll do that all day. And they really value that, especially if you have a bit of an audience to broadcast that through.
I have a question, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are they doing hosting a giveaway? Do you have any more details on that?
They were in the simple regard of like they're doing a lot of social media on what they're giving away for St. Patty's Day. So then they're putting, it was 3 of them together in a video, one of which I knew does a lot of video. The other 2 I had never seen. So my thought in seeing that was like, oh, there's a mentor and a mentee setup right there to get some exposure to newer agents in that regard. And so they have video up on Facebook and Instagram. I think they have a landing page where you can sign up to get it. And I think throughout the week, they're just going to keep coming back on social media to talk about it. So that would be more of a virtual, I guess, format of hosting a giveaway. But that was the one example I was thinking of that I saw this week that I really liked.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And of course, if you're giving away something from a business or if you work with a nonprofit to give something away, then there's collaboration there as well.
Okay.
Great question, Linda. Thank you. All right, lesson number 5. So last month I did a whole hour on how to use CapCut, which is a free editing software. It's an app on your phone. You can also get a desktop version that I've learned to love way more than the version on the phone over the last month. Excuse me. And I wanted to put this in here because I just want people to know how effective it can be. But for anyone who's just more looking for like, Chris, how do I get off the couch and start doing content? I don't want you to worry about editing at all. In this case, I want you to focus on camera, play, stop, post. That's your edit, right? So you probably see people who have captions, they have stickers that pop up, they have sound effects, they have music in the background. All of that is amazing once you're ready to go there. Or if you want to pay for someone to do that. But first and foremost, it's just getting out in front of everyone. And the simplest way to do that is hit record, hit stop, and hit post. So if you can use those 3 things as your main editing tool, if you're starting out, that is the absolute best way to edit your video. And as you get more and more comfortable, you can play around a lot more with a ton of free applications. There's so many tutorials on YouTube, on TikTok to watch about how to make these all fun. But don't ever let other people's edited videos slow you down from what you're doing. Or as we often say, don't let someone's chapter 20 be your chapter 1. Enjoy the journey. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be, and start from there.
Hey, Chris, I'd like to echo that. This is Kirk Duke. I'm one of the members of Chris's team. And I am so far behind the production value part of the video producing thing and the video posting thing. And what I've done is said, the heck with it, I'm going to do it anyway. And
Yeah.
I'm just, I literally pull my car over on the side of the road. I hold the phone in my own hand. I try to view it a little bit, make sure the backdrop looks pretty good. And I just talk for a minute and I post it. And you would be or at least I was extremely surprised that a lot of the very straightforward stuff that I've posted has gotten a whole lot of attention, a whole lot of likes, and even got me a couple leads. So I just want to echo, don't be shy about posting. Just be yourself, be authentic. Don't try to be something you're not. I'm a pretty straight shooter, pretty down to earth kind of guy. So I'm not sure all the stickers and editing is really for me, even if I ever advance to that level. So don't be shy, just be yourself.
Amazing. Yeah, Kirk, that's so great. And what I've experienced watching you is like, not that you are this, but you can very quickly become known as the guy who always shoots a video when he travels around Maine showing property, right? And then, so what does that show? It shows all those people out there that you're willing to drive for work, you're willing to explore the state, and you actually love what you do. They're not worried about like, oh, you can't edit, or like, oh, the frame didn't look right, or they're just seeing a consistent production out there that they're going to start equating to someone who works really hard and is passionate about what they do. So, that is such a great example, and I commend you, Kirk, for just absolutely diving headfirst into that and making it a just staple in your process. That's great. What about from the sticker people? We'll call you the sticker people. I'm a sticker person. Nick, do you edit your own video?
I literally just add captions and sometimes maybe music if it's not too long, but I take Kirk's route. I used to try to edit too much and I realized I was stifling my content output. And so to do more video, I literally just hold it, talk, and oddly enough, I get way more like interaction in the community from that. Like my UPS truck driver was like, "Oh, my wife and I watch all your videos. They're just so easy to understand."
Yeah.
It's like that stuff. I think it goes back to your first point, to just being authentic to yourself and just being real. Like I think sometimes, it's like, do we want to be an influencer, or are we trying to be, the go-to guy or gal in our community? And I think that's where just sometimes keeping it simple can help you get it done, and it provides value more than you know. And most of the people that have ever commented on that stuff in my community at the grocery store or whatever are not people who tend to like or comment on my stuff. So
Yeah.
just another lesson in there too.
Yeah. Lesson 5.1, you never know who's watching, right? And then all of a sudden someone calls you and is like, hey, yeah, I've been meaning, I watched your stuff for a year. And it's like, oh, whoa, really? Cool. The reach is essentially infinite, I'm sure aliens are watching us too. I don't know if they're buying real estate in Maine yet, but we'll see. Alex, I thought you were going to jump in there, but no. All right, moving through here. I'm going to play a quick video. I don't think you can hear the audio unless you hear it through my headphones. So as we get more specific to real estate, one thing I really learned this last year is the idea that I'm not going to show up to my listing and do photos and a listing video. I'm going to do listing videos. And my lesson there is leverage every moment you're in that home, or you're in front of that product that you're selling, or you're, offering your service, whatever that might be in your industry. So we had a listing in Bridgeton that came out in December. We produced what I call my typical like Chris Davis listing video, talking about the house and the community. We did a highlight reel of a local ski shop. We cut it down into this 30-second sizzle for a coming soon ad. I did posts the day of our listing video, highlighting the videographer in all the different places he was shooting. tagging his company so then he could, and I think my videos alone on Bridgeton, I think probably got us the most buyer leads of any other listing video I've done, to the point where people are like, wow, I think I want to move to Bridgeton. And so, you know, we're not just selling our houses in some points. We're oftentimes marketing a whole community that people have never thought about moving to, or they have no idea what it's about. So we don't just have to stay within the property lines. You know, we have the opportunity to go farther, to go a little deeper in that. And the opportunity there is incredible. So combined the collaboration with a local business, or any other local, it could even be the seller of the home. There's so many different ways to get other people involved in a video that then is going to increase your reach. So I would encourage, for those on the call who are in real estate and selling real estate, just to have that idea that, you know, early on in your stages, absolutely, just the listing video might be where you're at, and that is an incredible, essential step, one I hope everyone is doing. But there's so much other video you can get in that moment, whether you're in it or not. There's an opportunity to really show off the whole community of which you are promoting. And then you just never know who else is watching it through that to be like, oh, wow, I really love what you did there. And that could lead to something else. So from a strictly real estate video lesson, I encourage you all to really think about, you're not just getting a listing video, you're doing listing videos while you're there. All right, this is my last lesson, and then we can just open it up to a great discussion. I'm probably going to put more of you on the spot. So I was sitting here for the last hour, and I was just really like, you know, what do I really want to talk about? How do I really make sure I get points across? There's still a part of me that I always feel I'm convincing people the effectiveness of social media, how free it really is, as a business tool, right? I'm not talking about like connecting with your community or following people or reading comments or doing any of that stuff. If we just look at it as a tool for our business, if we offer a service or a product, it is a fast strategy to onboard clients efficiently. It's also a very long play, right? So someone might be following us for a year or two, but the second they have the thought that they need to buy or sell, the idea is they have been watching us for so long that they say, hey, I want to meet with you. I found when I get that, they're not interviewing me anymore. They've been interviewing me over the last 2 years, watching me on social media. So if we think about all the ways to kind of move our prospects through the pipeline to client as fast as possible, well, why don't I spend as much time as I can bringing everyone into the top of the funnel and letting my content drip it down. So when they're ready, they know who to call. So looking here on the left of your screen, your posts are what lead to engagement, which is going to lead to the connection. So they follow your stuff. They're going to start feeling connected to you. Maybe they've seen a picture of your family. They saw where you went on vacation. They understand what theater you love to go to. They know when you take your morning walks with your dog, there is a connection to watching you. That connection leads to this nurture concept. All of a sudden, they're along the journey with you. If they've chosen to follow you at this point, they are going to follow you no matter what you post, and until you like upset them, right, or offend them, which I don't encourage you to do. Let's keep it professional as much as possible, but true to you. That nurture is what leads to this level of comfort. You know, we're taught a lot when you walk into someone's house for a listing appointment, the number one thing you need that person to feel is safe, right? There can't be any guard up or they can't feel. So a tactic a lot of people say is if you can immediately ask for a glass of water, it gives them the feeling that they're taking care of you. So that nurture, that leads to the comfort, and the comfort ultimately is what leads to trust. So the faster we can get people who watch us to trust us, the faster we are going to move them to that client level stage when they are ready to buy. And then if you think about this on a small scale with 100 followers, and then you amplify that to 1,000 and then 3,000, you're bringing more and more people in through free media that you've created about something you're passionate about, be it your business, your family, your life, your hobbies, or whatnot. So I just love to highlight that because I've experienced in it. It's remarkable. Once someone trusts you and they, like I just always say, they come out of the woodwork and they're like, oh yeah, we want to sell that thing. Can you do it? And it's like, oh, wow. Like I haven't even talked to you in years, yet they feel like I've been talking to them literally every day. And that's where that trust comes in. And to even like go a little further, how do we expedite that trust? It's getting to a point with your content where you're okay being vulnerable. Everything is not, unicorns and rainbows. Some days absolutely suck. Some deals absolutely suck. The weather can be terrible. It is so windy right now, and I'm over the wind. And how you present yourself in the most authentic nature. Whether that's just being pensive, that's being really thoughtful, maybe it's sharing gratitude, but it's sharing you. And people want to see that. They want to see you. And the more you can share you and that level of comfort, the faster you are going to get trust built. And then once you have the trust, that moment to get them to client becomes that much quicker with a lot less salesmanship. That's my thesis. So then this is where I'm at today. So it was kind of interesting to see since April of 2023 to now, I've done 770 posts. Again, I don't know what that means. It doesn't even matter. I just thought that was cool. My followers have gone up. One thing I have been really focused on, I'll be honest, is how many accounts I'm reaching. And for me right now, if you look at like the last 10 posts, particularly reels on my Instagram, this should have a name too, but it's a lot of like, you got to have a really good hook and then you drive them to a really good write-up. If you don't follow Nick, his write-ups are phenomenal. They're spaced out well. They're just enough words. It's a great story. I steal a lot of that format from him. There's a bunch of agents in and around Maine who are doing this phenomenally, wonderfully. And the idea is like, oh, I have a topic I want to talk about. I want to use video to bring people in. I want to use engaging copy. And then I want to tell a story that I feel is worth telling because it means something to me. And maybe it just means something to someone else. So I often look at my accounts reached with the idea of knowing that it's a game of numbers in that regard. 5,996 of those could totally be bots, right? And then the other 4 are my wife, my brother, my sister, and my mom. I guess I also just want to say, I think putting the work in works. I see it from a client standpoint, and I see it from my growth on Instagram. I always end these sessions by saying, please feel free to DM me. The first video I did, which I'm going to post that on YouTube first tonight. I do have a worksheet. It's kind of like for the beginning of the class, just some ideas for you to start building out your content calendar. So you can shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll email that over to you. Always strive for 1 video or reel a week, if not more. 3 stories a week. Stories are something that people often revisit. Especially if you have engaging tools like a poll or a question that they can actually interact with. If you ever want inspiration or collaboration, I'm just 1 DM away. I love to do it. I love to do it with people out of state, out of town, out of country, whatever it is. People always love to see, distance and how we bring it together, just like right on the screen, stacked on top. YouTube should have all 12 of the episodes up. My place is in Maine YouTube. And for all of you who have tuned in, a lot of you, most of the time, some of you new to this, which I greatly appreciate. My next session, I believe, will be starting in April, and I will let all of you know about that. But yeah, that is that. Always warm up your body, your mind, your mouth, your energy, and your style, and make sure you budget your time to post. And now I just want to open it up to you guys. We got another like 13 minutes, so we got tons of time. please. I think, as you can tell, most of us are open books, open profiles, thoughts, questions. This could be the moment in time where we come up with the most collaborative idea ever that breaks the internet with genius. You just never know, so we have to be open to it. Did anyone learn something new today? Throw up a hand. Cool. Awesome. Me too.
Hey,
Nice.
Chris,
Yeah,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
I told you I had audio problems, but no, when just listening today, and I think one of my first impressions was you can't really do real estate without social media. And I know you can, but it just is one of those things that really helps if you can do it. And I think my first attempt at it was I was just too concerned about what people, kind of what you alluded to, were looking at me and saying, oh, you can tell he's not very comfortable. You know, you put that impression on yourself. And the key
Yeah.
is that kind of what you reiterate. And I think everybody who's not doing it somehow has got to feel comfortable with it and not worry how they look like, or because it's that vulnerable. Yeah. Say that.
Yeah.
Say, and people will say, oh, you can say that word. Go ahead. You know, when you say something like that, you know,
Yeah.
would say, oh yeah, we could all relate to that. And so I think it's time I start. Maybe. I don't know. Is anybody else on this call that hasn't done any? Am I the only one?
No, I'm definitely working on it too. My business was always so heavily reliant on sphere of influence and being involved in my community. And I have been very, I don't want to say scared of social media, but I just don't trust it. I just haven't been very engaged. But after opening Dream Home Realty, and now I have like agents that I would love to be able to feed leads to. So I do want to do better. It's one of my goals this year. So I'm definitely, that's why I'm here, trying to do
Love it.
better and hope to start getting content out there.
Awesome. I'll help you be accountable, Jen.
Yes.
And yeah, Dad, I think it's like Paul, he's my dad, my newest team member. You know, just a reminder that if Instagram was all just like, you know, models and unrealistic versions of humans, nobody would be on it. We're out there looking for people who are working hard and trying something new. And it's hard to get over that point, and that kind of just jumping off a ledge to say, all right, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to put myself out there. And who knows, you might connect with someone you haven't seen since college and you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I think maybe having a little bit of that optimism of the unknown can drive you, at least at the beginning, and then I'll drive you after that.
We'll do it.
Yeah, and Paul, I'm not sure it ever really like that. I don't know. I haven't felt, to be fully transparent, like I still do videos to this day in which I always have like a fraction of myself reflecting on myself, and whether that video is good enough or whether that video is actually going to be like put out there. And I'm not sure that judgment truly goes away. You might be able to speak to that a bit more, Chris, but maybe your threshold changes as you do it more. One, like just, and this is super basic, I'm not an actor by any means, but a super basic, just tactical thing that I've played with too, as I've kind of dipped my toe in this social media situation, is like starting a video too. And initially when I was doing this, I would start it and I'd be like, okay, and I'm on. But you can start it and like, just breathe for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And like do what you need to do, or just like get in the zone and then begin, because you always have that ability, obviously, to like edit that first part out. And sometimes that helps me to kind of like relax and just gather my thoughts and then just like start whenever the hell I want, you know? So I'm going a bit on a tangent, but I also think there's something to be said about, like, Chris, I know once in a while you'll like throw in, like, not very often, I wish you did it like a touch more, like a little blooper like situation, right? Because it just,
Yeah.
what does that show?
I can
Is
do
it's
that.
like you're showing that like, oh, Chris isn't like a video machine after all. And it's like, and it's just funny, and it's just very humanizing, and you are exposing your vulnerability in that space. But I bet like you get pretty positive like reactions to it. I don't know. It gives me a chuckle, even if I don't like heart it or something. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something that I think like over time, Paul, you will work through with just the inputs, right?
I was so impressed, and I still remember your video where you were in the kitchen and you had your dish towel over your shoulder and you were telling a story. It really didn't. I mean, it was just very good, and
More dish towels, obviously.
more dish towels. Yeah, no, you told a story in the kitchen very comfortably.
Thanks,
Good.
Paul.
Yeah, just technically, Alex, like coming from a point of groundedness. So like before I would go on stage for a play, I would have like a 30-minute routine to like similar to a yoga class. Like I imagine when you leave a yoga class, I feel this, like I feel more connected to the earth. I feel my, my voice has settled into my body. Usually I'm breathing from my diaphragm, not up in my chest. And then your voice has an effect and people hear that, it's like discussion after a yoga class is often like to me the most satisfying because everyone is in this like shared moment usually that and they're grounded and they're there. And if you can always try to start your video from some place of groundedness, it doesn't always have to be like super cool energy, because sometimes that's too much, unless it's like oftentimes when I run and then do a video, I feel the most connected because like my body's just exhausted. So I can just be what I am in that moment. And so those are some great little tactical things to play around with just to understand where your voice sits. We had some great chats. Thank you all for chatting too. Sue hasn't done any. Lisa doesn't have Instagram. Totally fine. So many other ways to do it, but could be fun to get on because it can be a really great way to connect with people. I often start all my client conversations on Instagram and then move them to email or text. That's just where I think they just know where to find me. It's like otherwise you used to know people would always be at the corner store or they're always going to be there. It's like for us, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just find them there. What yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, do you or other people, do you just record on your phone and then upload it to these other places, or do you record it like in TikTok and do it the reverse way?
Great question. I primarily just record on my phone, and then if I'm going to edit it a little bit, I'll upload it from my phone into CapCut. And then from that, I'll put that I'll put that into TikTok. If I'm on the go and not thinking about it, let's say I'm just doing a story, I will record in Instagram. It doesn't always save the same, so I like to have that raw video on the phone.
Okay, perfect, great, thank you.
The other like big lesson I learned, I forgot to highlight this, is like using the content creator version of Instagram. So you can have a personal, you can have a business, or you can be a content creator. Anyone can be a content creator as far as I know. The music choices are so much better. I'm very much a proponent of just having one Instagram handle. There's nothing, you shouldn't feel like you have something to hide. You might not show all of your life, but it's way too hard to manage two accounts. So just be you, the person that does life and does business, and those worlds can coexist, and that's who you are. Awesome. All right, kids. Well, I'm going to let you out a little bit early so you can enjoy the sunshine before the next class. I want to thank you all so much again. This has been so fun. I truly, truly mean it. Happy to have coffee, virtual coffee, collaborate, Instagram Live, whatever it might be. Video and social media can be extremely powerful tool when done well. It can be extremely fun as well. And I just want everyone to know about that. And if there's anything I can ever do to help, please reach out. Thank you all for spending some time with me today. And it's still a beautiful sunny day. The wind is starting to come down, so I hope you get outside and enjoy it.
Thank you.
Chris.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddies. You're all my buddies. Take care.